I really wasn't going to make a quote-unquote fourth video about this situation because, in my opinion, I thought I already gave all the criticisms that I wanted to give. Plus, I really don't like milking situations. I usually like having one or two takes about something and be done with it. But I have to make this video because I was correct. So I've been criticizing DOGPACK of potentially being a little bit reckless when it comes to his presentation of information, which would only serve to discredit him and make him seem like a fool, which is a shame because I actually did support the work that DOGPACK was putting in. I did support the exposés that he was attempting to provide for everybody. I did support the things he was doing in regards to exposing dangerous and shady practices in regards to MrBeast, but unfortunately, he went ahead and screwed up a little bit of his investigation. Because credit where credit is due, he did reveal some important things to us in regards to shady operators in the background of MrBeast, such as Delaware. He did give us a little bit of insight into illegal lotteries, but we're not too sure how far that'll actually go in regards to a court ruling. Let me just cut myself short and say that, yeah, I did support some of the work that DOGPACK was doing, but unfortunately, he kind of fumbled the bag, as everybody likes to say. Here's what DOGPACK had to say in a recent tweet in regards to his newest video. DOGPACK404 tweets, James Warren domestic violence charges update. The 6 NC criminal court cases were not for domestic violence. I still have some freedom of information requests out, but an alleged current MrBeast employee reached out to me giving their side of the story. I think this person is mistaken with a lot of the details, but I do now believe the James Warren domestic violence cases that circulated the office was most likely the wrong James Warren. Of course, none of my sources knew that. This is actually incredibly bad. Like, this is incredibly bad for DOGPACK because now he's admitting to one of the criticisms that I gave DOGPACK in my last few videos, which is he didn't verify his sources and he doesn't actually know how much these sources actually know, which is a huge contradiction to something he's been saying the last few days. He's been saying that his sources are valid.
And then the really big thing is that there was some incident between him and a female colleague that resulted in the female colleague leaving the company and receiving 3 years in severance pay. I'm still actively looking into this incident, so if you have information, let me know. But I've heard from multiple credible sources that this is true and this did happen.
That they know the information, that this video was going to age well, but already we're seeing the complete opposite of that. So you're telling us that your sources didn't actually know anything and that they were most likely wrong about James Warren and that your sources didn't actually know that? That's incredibly bad. Because what about LaKoya? Are we supposed to believe the hearsay about LaKoya to be true as well? Because if you got this wrong, and apparently your sources didn't know anything in regards to the first case, who's to say that they know anything about the second case that you're attempting to present us? DOGPACK then says, I tried multiple times to get in touch with a person who allegedly found the charges before making my video and did not get a response. Okay, I'm going to stop right there because if you did not get a response and you couldn't verify the information, then why present it as an allegation in the first place in your most recent video, which got over 1 million views? I'm pretty sure it might be more than that right now. I haven't checked, but that's incredibly bad because you led people to believe this person was guilty of something, even though you said it was a legend, even though you said you were still verifying. A lot of people still took you at your word. You really led a lot of people to believe that he might have done something, but it was too difficult to verify.
Apparently, according to DOGPACK, there are domestic violence charges against him, but since there are also apparently so many people named James Warren who beat their girlfriends, according to Dawson, it's difficult to find.
That's incredibly reckless. That is borderline defamation. This genuinely jeopardizes almost everything you have done completely. You allege something that you couldn't verify and potentially misled millions of people when you had a clear reason to not make those allegations. You never followed through with verifying the allegation. Some people have been using this defense over and over again, by the way, and the defense goes as, he said it was alleged, he said he was still verifying it, how could he have known? See, that's why you wait to present these things in a video that people will take you at your word for. You don't present allegations without substantiation because how are you going to correct the record for millions of people that might not even come back to read your correction? Some people make up their minds immediately without critical thinking or nuance. How are you going to rectify that? Potentially ruining someone's reputation and by extension, potentially their livelihood over rumors that you can't substantiate at all. These are incredibly damaging things that you need to be extremely careful with presenting to millions of people, and you botched it entirely. DOGPACK continues to say, I should have waited on the Freedom of Information request before mentioning the DV charges allegations. However, I believe I was clear in my video that they were just allegations of charges. Charges are themselves unproven accusations, not convictions. Okay, look, DOGPACK, something that you don't particularly understand is that when people who are uneducated and ignorant and don't actually do this type of research, those words are incredibly alarming to them. Those words are buzzwords to them. They're very loaded in charge. So when they hear those types of words such as charges and allegations and verifying, they think that you're gonna have something to substantiate the claim. This is more perpetualized, especially when you take into account the fact that you've been alluding to there being some nukes, some bombshells, that your video was gonna age well, that you were going to expose James Warren since your second video. You've been implying all sorts of potentially damning things. People took you at your word. They got hyped up for your next video, and you're wrong. That's incredibly fucked up. This next part that DOGPACK said personally angers me to a very high degree. He says, I'm not a professional journalist or investigator. My goal is just to bring credible allegations to light so they can be properly investigated and people can be held accountable. I still believe there are other credible allegations involving James Warren that need to be investigated. Unfortunately, you can't hide behind this. This is a terrible defense, because if your goal is to just bring credible allegations to light so they can properly be investigated, then doesn't that mean that you maybe shouldn't be the one to be bringing these things to light? Doesn't this mean that you should have handed this information off to somebody more credible and more capable than yourself? Not to mention, regardless of the fact, you are still being held up to this investigation standard. That's something that you brought up onto yourself when you started to suggest that you had a level of authority when it comes to this information. You said that you worked at MrBeast for 3 months, that you had a lot of insider information, that you had a lot of sources, used all of these words that would imply that you are more credible than what you actually are. So yes, unfortunately, you did have this standard to uphold of being a journalist or investigator. Unfortunately, as much as some people would disagree, those of us who do YouTube here to try to report information as validated, as verified, and as thorough as possible do have a sort of obligation to present information as cleanly and as evidently as possible. It is our obligation to make sure that what we cover is correct, to avoid sort of potentially damaging somebody's reputation unjustly. There are real ramifications to that, especially when your videos are getting millions and millions of views, and even some of the most popular creators on the scene are also taking your words at face value.
Now, the first 10 minutes of this video or so is focusing on MrBeast's cousin James Warren, who is the secret CEO in question. And while he seems to be a piece of shit as well, allegedly running a Ponzi scheme in the past to scam the elderly, while also being a questionable partner, that's not who we're going to be focusing.
Let me touch on this thing that he said right here real quick. I still believe there are other credible allegations involving James Warren that need to be investigated. Why should we believe you? Your third video was already misleading. The person you plugged that would help verify this information for you couldn't verify it, and they said that they weren't prepared to make the allegation, yet you were? That's hilarious. So you come out and say you were wrong, you come out and say that your sources were wrong and didn't actually know about the situation, and we're supposed to believe that there's more credible allegations involving James Warren that need to be investigated? Okay. So DOGPACK also included this screenshot, which is an exchange of text between him and one of his sources, and this is what he has to say. Do you know about the James Warren DV charges? And the person says, people joke about this, but as far as I know, it's not true. One day we did a Google search in the office to check, but nothing. The originator of the rumors was Jimmy's ex-girlfriend, Smatty Spadell. Between you and me, she's a wine drunk and always wanted to gossip on set. She told me a lot, but everyone has to be nice to her because she was dating Jimmy. If you can't tell by now, MrBeast is filled with gossip, rumors, and toxic crap. New rumors every day. That message alone makes everything significantly worse, because this person is corroborating the fact that these are just rumors and hearsay that people themselves have said they heard from somebody else, including you, because your next message is, damn, I heard blank found the charges and other corroborated, but okay, what do you know about LaKoya Hill? And then this person says, blank is a saint. I was very close with her. She was there when we Googled, but that domestic case was another James Warren. Jokes were made, but it wasn't him. DOGPACK then replies with, yeah, those jokes seem to convince a lot of people. I've also heard from people who have witnessed James' domestic abuse firsthand. And this is really, really bad because you used people's rumors that started off as a joke to try to sort of substantiate the allegation that James Warren was a domestic abuser. That's incredibly fucked up. Not to mention, you're trying to apply the same line of logic to LaKoya Hill. Imagine if somebody made a joke about LaKoya and then that same joke also spread like wildfire in MrBeast's office. And now you have all of these people making these bold claims and conjectures and rumors and stories that LaKoya may have potentially sexually assaulted someone when we simply don't know if that's the case. Yet you're presenting it as if there's something significantly damning there, but you don't actually know how reputable your sources are. That's not to say that LaKoya didn't do anything he could have, but again, we simply don't know. And that's exactly the problem, because let's say hypothetically this guy didn't do anything, or in matter of fact, let's say hypothetically he did do everything he's accused of, right? Those two hypotheticals would not exist if he didn't present information that wasn't substantiated. If LaKoya did do something wrong, absolutely, and he could verify those claims and corroborate them with more than just hearsay, then that means that he would have had a slam dunk on LaKoya. But now, since he fucked up gathering information and fucked up on verifying his sources, if LaKoya did do something, nobody's gonna take that allegation seriously anymore, particularly not MrBeast. And let's say he didn't do something and people still believe that he did do something, he may have potentially just ruined this guy's reputation and his livelihood. What about the dozens of people that work at MrBeast? Because of this reckless reporting, imagine how much MrBeast lost in terms of revenue. Imagine if this could have cost people their jobs, their paycheck, their bonus, etc. And this is also not the first time you propped up an unreliable source. Remember Jake Weddle? Yeah, that guy is a complete fraud who changed his story on MrBeast several times, but I'm sure you don't mind that as long as it fits your narrative.
And Weddle goes on to talk about the infamous video that he went over during his interview with DOGPACK, the one that gave him so much pain and trauma, and once again he just lies through his teeth.
Right before I moved to New York, I was supposed to be in a video. It was right after we filmed the 3 days in prison video that I did come back for. And then I was supposed to do another one, but the video ended up like not turning out. Like, it's a video that he's replicated a few times recently. But like the first time he was going to do it, they did it with me. And I think there was just some bugs with the production. And so I did that video and we recorded about like, it was supposed to be one of those like long endurance videos. And I recorded like half of it. And we just were like, hey, I don't think there's like stuff here that's working entirely, but it's like just like bugs we have to. It was like their first time doing it, so they needed to like. I was like the guinea pig for some production stuff, and I still got paid. Don't get me wrong, but then I was just like, yeah, no worries. You know, I appreciate being the guinea pig. You know, for this.
Yeah, him saying that the video was scrubbed off because of some production issues is insane. And I mean, I get that he said during the DOGPACK video that he wanted to be in good terms with MrBeast publicly, but why lie like that, especially on something that was supposedly so traumatic?
I also want to touch on something else in regards to that. One of the very first things you said is, I think this person is mistaken with a lot of details. Why? Is it because what they're saying doesn't fit your narrative? I really hate the fact that you're attempting to discredit this person that you got this text from when this singular text has more credibility than anything you've said in the past video. There's more to substantiate what this person is telling you than there is to substantiate the allegations that were proven incorrectly that you claimed. So who are you to attempt to discredit this person by saying you think this person is mistaken with a lot of details? DOGPACK, if you have proven anything so far, it's that MrBeast is a shady individual, but you are as well. You are a snaky, shady, and frankly, very non-credible person when it comes to all of this. You're incredibly dishonest. You have lied about several things, and you even rushed a story that you couldn't even verify, which is one of the worst things you could have done when it comes to a situation like this. Not just that, but you also gave MrBeast several outs, because now all that MrBeast has to say to counter you is he can just say that you didn't do your research, that you don't actually know how to investigate, that you didn't actually know anything about what you were talking about, and he can just wave you away as if nothing ever happened. That's literally all he has to do now. Now, I'm not saying that that's actually what he's going to do, considering that he's planning a response, but it's a possibility that could shatter DOGPACK's credibility and everything he's been working for this entire time. And I say shatter as if it wasn't shattered enough already, but that's besides the point. Also, something that I've been utilizing a lot in the last 2 videos that I've made in regards to all of this is that DOGPACK is insinuating that MrBeast is potentially malicious to women, yet the source that apparently spread this rumor is also Jimmy's ex-girlfriend, which DOGPACK attempted to utilize in an attempt to try to sort of imply that MrBeast was, again, malicious to women. Check out this clip.
It's like not that vague if you have reading comprehension and can read context clues. She says she spent years being quiet, never acknowledging that time in her life. 19 to 21 are formative years, impacted how she saw herself and how she trusted men. Months of therapy. She says how he treats other women will ultimately be how he treats you. So how does Jimmy treat other women?
I don't really get along with women. I don't really get along with women. I don't really get along with women.
Well, women are stupid because they're inferior to me.
Anyways, if you made it to the end of the video, I want to say that I was right. All of the people that were negatively commenting on my previous videos, they were wrong. DOGPACK is a fraud. He's not to be trusted. If there is any merit to his claims, if there is any sense of truth to his expose, which there are things that are true, by the way, like Delaware, like illegal lotteries, potentially, then he should definitely hand off the story to somebody else instead of trying to run this himself. He already lost every bit of credibility. He lied about the information that he knew. He couldn't verify his sources. This guy is a complete amateur that doesn't know what he's doing, and he really just needs to get off the internet. And for everyone who disagreed with me and the people that I insulted, I will not apologize. And I never will, because I knew you guys were wrong. And I was right the entire time. That being said, that's all I got for today. Later.